Tolerance is an important quality in Chinese culture. It's the spirit of Fuzhou and also reflects the local people's insight into life and nature. Living by the sea, the local people are tolerant of diversity. Scenting is controlling the delicate balance between the fragrance of the jasmine flower and the tea it perfumes. Such an unusual type of tea has helped a city open up and prosper. Every morning, Chris takes the bus for half an hour to get to a cafe in the old section of Fuzhou. When he arrives, he orders a cup of coffee. This is how his day begins. Spending time in cafes began 3 centuries ago in Britain. Chris runs an online tea shop. Every day, he drinks coffee in Fuzhou while selling tea to his fellow countrymen.
我自己设计的，中间可以看到这个江哈，代表了闽 River， 然后下面就有一点比较传统的中国的味道，就这边有用繁体字的写闽江茶厂。
Fuzhou and the Min River, the first photo album about China known to the world, introduced this river to the British people in 1873. Chris fell in love with Fuzhou's jasmine tea in 2006. He's been running his online tea shop for 3 years. British people like drinking tea. His online shop profits from Britain's afternoon tea tradition. Through the internet, more and more overseas jasmine tea fans are able to connect with Chris and order their favorite tea. In recent years, his business has expanded to include all types of tea made in China. His sales of jasmine tea have soared. He believes this will continue for another couple of years.
我卖的最多就是茉莉花茶跟一些其他的绿色的茶叶。茉莉花茶其实很多人是送礼物，其他的茶叶你打开来，那有一点香，可是茉莉花茶包装就打开来，然后非常非常香，所以茉莉花就是最好的礼物。那这叶子有没有什么要求的？像一芽一叶，或是？
我们就是嫩芽的话就是单芽。
哦。
对。
To tell the quality of the tea and choose the best supplier, Chris needs to be able to evaluate different types of tea and remember their shapes, color, and taste.
卖的主要都是像这种的茉莉花，还是有龙珠的，或者也有。
As a businessman, Chris can determine the quality of the tea based on his experience and feelings. But he still has a lot to learn. While Chris is running his online shop, the jasmine tea Chen Chengzhong is making this year is going through the final curing step in a courtyard in the old section of Fuzhou. Chen is one of the first 6 inheritors of the traditional techniques of jasmine tea making. Every year, he makes tea. It's not for sale. He just shares it with his friends. Today, he will seal the scented jasmine tea in a wooden case. Over the next 2 months, the tea will stay inside. The heat from roasting the tea will gradually dissipate. This process helps the jasmine fragrance last for a very long time. Feng Bingwei is an expert on the folk customs of Fuzhou. In the 9th lunar month, he receives an invitation to taste some freshly produced tea.
我哥70年代后期台湾，他偶然之间问了我一句：“最近福州有没有那种狮子头那个茶？”我说我不知道狮子头。后来这个事情一直记在头脑。
Making lion head tea, which is unique to Fuzhou, requires 201 steps and has been on the market for the last 200 years. After returning from Taiwan, Feng began to inquire about this type of tea. Then he became familiar with Wang Wenfeng, a man who has mastered the techniques of producing the tea. Because of this classic type of jasmine tea, two strangers have become friends. Every year, after Wang makes a new batch of tea, he invites Feng over. They sample the tea and chat the whole afternoon. Thousands of kilometers away in Beijing, Chen Lei begins his day. He's trying hard to perfect his movements and voice so as to convey the feeling of an old-style Beijing tea house to patrons from all over the world. The Laoshe Tea House in Beijing isn't that old, but the antiquated culture it represents still manages to attract a lot of visitors. In Chen's memory, Beijing tea houses all served fragrant jasmine tea.
我们家我打小就跟我爸爸妈妈都是喝花茶嘛，就是老北京的传统。而且我小的时候我不认为说有别的茶，我以为就是花茶呢。
Beijing residents' love for jasmine tea has lasted over a century. Fuzhou jasmine tea has an excellent color, aroma, and taste. Slightly sweet, it can mask the flavor of the local water. In the late Qing dynasty, Fuzhou jasmine tea cornered the market in Beijing and won the favor of all sectors of society. Before the 1990s, Fuzhou jasmine tea was greatly admired, leaving a deep impression on generations of tea drinkers. The techniques involved in making Fuzhou jasmine tea have been passed down for generations. Chen Chengzhong's father was also a tea maker. Influenced by his family, Chen began to work at the Fuzhou tea factory at the age of 15. He learned from 6 masters. Calm and staid, he began to understand the life of the flowers and the essence of tea. It's the blossoming season again. Chen's son comes back to Fuzhou to learn the sorting technique from his father. They've been doing this for 3 years.
你一面来收哩，一面听了就收，送这听了。如果冇送这听了，就我独立家好的原因嘛。真的跑呀。
因为像这个茉莉花茶这个音质工艺啊，搞茶叶这一块也是比较艰苦的，比较累的活。他如果愿意在这一行发展的话，当然对我整个家族都有好处。
Chen is meticulous about each step. The superior tea base and fresh flower buds roll tirelessly through the filter. Then they are scented and baked in the cool night air. The tea maker is serious about each and every step. In Chen's mind, a cup of jasmine tea represents the harmony between mankind and nature. Fine and sophisticated, the fragrance of the tea will linger in people's minds and stay in the depths of their memory when they think about their hometown. Unlike Chen, Fang Bingui shows his love for jasmine tea through words. He enjoys frequenting this downtown tea house. Every Wednesday afternoon, tea lovers from different corners of Fuzhou get together in this tea house to drink, chat, and listen to Fang and other storytellers. Fang decides what the theme of every week will be. Tea stalls used to be ubiquitous throughout Fuzhou. At that time, there were tea stalls everywhere. People would sip tea while chatting or conducting business. This storytelling club is the last cultural relic of that time in Fuzhou. A gavel, a pair of cymbals, and a wooden table make up the stage for the Fuzhou storytellers. Every morning, seniors come here from different parts of the city. With jasmine tea provided by the club, these men and women while their day away in a relaxed environment. Tea stalls, storytelling clubs, and bathhouses are three recreational activities of the older generation in Fuzhou. Savoring a pot of jasmine tea in the bathhouse is an enjoyable thing for them. With the quickening pace of city life and a construction boom, people have been separated from the scent of jasmine tea they knew when they were young. But as long as there are people who are willing to sit down and make a cup of jasmine tea, this kind of calm and optimistic lifestyle can still be tapped into. In the 9th lunar month, the bustling pace of life in Fuzhou begins to slow down. Without the intense sun, jasmine flowers cease blooming and jasmine tea production comes to an end. Before the flowers wither, Chris organizes a gathering of 15 foreigners living in Fuzhou via the internet. They will experience the past and present of Fuzhou jasmine tea along a special route Chris has designed.
Not in the daytime, not in the morning. Jasmine tea is always made at nighttime. Why? Why? It's because the flowers open up at about 4 in the afternoon. So the flowers will open up and that's when they're most fragrant. And then they pick the flowers and then...
In the mid-19th century, foreign merchants in China took a wharf on the Min River as the starting point to build their tea trading network. For nearly a century, Fuzhou jasmine tea accounted for 100% of the export volume of Chinese jasmine tea. Today, The British still love jasmine tea, with its light, refreshing fragrance. After a busy summer, horticulturalist Lin Yongguang still cannot relax. To guarantee the following year's output of jasmine flowers, he applies fertilizer and trims the flower stems, as well as preparing the flowers for the coming winter. Traditionally, during this time, jasmine seedlings are transplanted to different parts of the field. This is a general method that helps increase the quality and volume of the plants. But Lin has found a better use for his seedlings. At the beginning of 2013, he opened an online shop to sell the surplus seedlings, which adds to his income. He doesn't sell the seedlings for a very high price. He's adopted a low-margin, high-volume model.
他有的不知道怎么种植的，所以说我们这个说明条给他一个，然后肥料吧送一包给他，变这个复合肥。
He hopes his online shop will bring more people into contact with this beautiful plant and bring the fragrance of jasmine to even more places.
有很多人都知道湖州茉莉花，他们有很多人没见过茉莉花，还不知道茉莉花是什么样子的。还有人问我是不是红色的茉莉花，我说是白色。
In 2011, the UK Tea and Infusion Society honoured Fuzhou as the birthplace of jasmine tea. In 2012, it honoured Fuzhou jasmine tea as a world-famous tea. In 2014, Fuzhou's jasmine and its tea culture system were listed on the globally important Agricultural Heritage System list.
Today 下午，我们在这美丽的茉莉花基地举行茉莉花茶文化保护遗产的界碑仪式。
In September 2013, the Ministry of Agriculture invited the agricultural councillors of 10 European countries to visit China. They included representatives from France and Hungary, and they visited the most important agricultural and cultural heritage sites in China. The Fuzhou jasmine and tea fields were one of the stops. The delegation sampled jasmine tea brewed with water from Fuzhou's Dragon Head Spring. Several of the representatives tried their hand at brewing a pot of tea. They mentioned that the jasmine flower originated in the West and jasmine tea from China. They came together in Fuzhou for a cultural exchange between East and West. Jasmine tea is the perfect combination of flower and tea. It is a gift to the world, as well as a valuable agricultural and cultural treasure. The jasmine flower is the symbol of China. During the 10th lunar month, Chen Chengzhong cracks open the box of jasmine tea that has been sealed for 2 months. Time has helped him to complete the final step of jasmine tea production, dispersing the heat. He is very meticulous when it comes to making tea. Most older generation tea makers abide by this credo. They believe only by having exacting standards will this heritage continue on into the future. Chris plans to take his family to Britain to spend Christmas there. He fell in love with Fuzhou when he first came here back in 2004. married a native of Fuzhou, and their child is a little over 1 year old. He has settled down and found inspiration here. He searches the tea shops for the tea he's most fond of and then sells it in Britain via his online shop. This is his way of making a living and keeps him connected to his homeland.
我们有一个店在伦敦中心，他们东西都是卖给皇家的，所以我在英国算高等，我在这边中等吧。
Chris's ability to evaluate tea still needs improvement, but compared with most British people, he's an expert. He sometimes gives Fuzhou jasmine tea to his friends and relatives as gifts.
Racing home to London River, carry on for London River, cracker on for London River with the chests of China tea.
因为伦敦也是我老家，所以他这首诗其实说我两个家，福州这边的家，还有我伦敦那个家，所以对我来说其实是很有意思。
Maybe the bond between Chris and Jasmine tea was predestined. Since jasmine from ancient Persia and India took root at the mouth of the Min River some 2,000 years ago, it has carried with it a timeless scent that evokes a sense of renewal. Jasmine tea is the perfect combination of two plants that are a symbol of the labor and love of the Fuzhou people. For hundreds of years, the jasmine has been cultivated in vast swathes by the Min River. Jasmine tea was born in the common cup of locals. It carries on quietly amongst the hustle and bustle of modern life. This has been a story about jasmine tea. It is the story of a flower and a leaf. It is the fragrance of a city and represents the simplicity of its people.